At this point, everybody should know that the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, the new zoom lens on it is kind of, hit or miss. It's not as good as the previous generation. But how good is the camera? Because the zoom not being as good as the last model, that could be the sensor because it's an all new sensor, or it could just be software and that can be fixed in the next update. But in its current state right now, what can we get away with on this camera? What modes are changed? Are there improvements? So let's look into this. Now, obviously, the 5x zoom is going to be the new sensor, so that's basically what everything is going to be related to, and that's everything from 5 all the way up to 100x. That's all new. It's still using the same like periscope zoom or whatever, so you have some optical zoom in there, but they didn't actually state until what point it was optical. Now, if you were to take the S23 Ultra and have the 5x zoom, that's going to be a digital crop on the 3x sensor, which is only 10 megapixel. Whereas this one, the 5x is a 50 megapixel sensor. It's its own dedicated starting point. So the 5x on this phone as compared to the S23 Ultra, it's not even close. It completely destroys it. But the part that's kind of weird for me is that the 5x on this looks beautiful. The 10x and then higher, that's where it starts to kind of lose off. Like it's really bad at that point, which doesn't really make any sense because it's 10x, so it's doubling in the zoom on a 50 megapixel sensor, so it should be a 25 megapixel picture and then compressed down to like the 12 megapixel output that it does. But looking into the improvements on this phone, that 5 times zoom, that's going to be the 50 megapixel sensor, which means that you only require 33.2 megapixel to record 8K. So now you have the regular lens for 8K and 5 times zoom for 8K, which also means that you can use them in the pro video mode. So if you're recording 1080p, then that means that you can make a flat log profile. You can lower all of like the detail to make it easier to edit and post. Now it's worth mentioning that you can only do that on 1080p. As soon as you go up to 4K, you no longer have that function to adjust any colors or contrast or anything like that. So it's kind of limiting in that sense as a pro mode, which is weird. But we still do have manual exposure, manual focus. We can change the shutter speed and everything, so that way you can actually set the shutter speed to be whatever your focal length is, so that way you're still getting like a simulated like 180-degree shutter, like for a shutter angle, but that's out of the scope of this video. For the phone, you can set your shutter speed to simulate something like that. So that way your shutter speed is just double your focal length. So we do have many great features that are added to this now because of this new sensor. So let's actually see how good it is. Now that was entirely shot on Samsung. Only the shots of this phone were shot on the S23 Ultra. Every other shot was shot on the S24 Ultra and edited with DaVinci Resolve Studio. But obviously the software needs to be improved because right now anything past the 5 times zoom, it's awful. And it would be nice if they brought back the 960 frames per second slow motion, because now you only have 240 and they're just relying on AI to do that. Plus, there's tons of leaked documents and everything right now about how all the AI on this phone right now is only free for 2 years, and then it becomes a subscription base, which means you only get like the 960 frames per second through AI if you do that on the 240 frames per second slow motion video. So it's not a great experience, and I've hated using like frame blending techniques like optical flow or whatever, because having dedicated 960 frame per second, even though it was just a short little 5-second burst, that was still a very long segment of video because of how slow that frame rate was. And this phone, being the most powerful phone that Samsung's made, obviously, it has the best possibility of utilizing that 960 frame per second, because it obviously has the processing power to do so, especially if the previous generations did. This one can obviously do it better. So bringing that back would be something really nice to see.
There's some stuff that I didn't notice. And we are on 0.6. Then we have 1 and 3. And then we have 5, which looks fantastic. But then if we go to 10, it's just a digital crop. Like, if you look at the word Amazon Basics, it doesn't get clearer. So it's not optically zooming on it. It's just digitally cropping on this picture right here. So this is kind of what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so the optical zoom on this camera. And now if I digitally crop, like with post or whatever, so I'll start recording. And if I digitally crop on this to kind of like zoom in on that area, but then I actually zoom in on that area and then just kind of refocus in there, then you can see that it's much clearer. So like right now, this is whatever, shooting in 5.7K. So this is taking the full resolution here, and it has all of the detail. Whereas being all the way zoomed out, the overall resolution is still 5.7K, but now there's less pixels on that concentrated area, so that's why it doesn't look as clear. Now, with this phone, it's doing the exact same thing. And this is the 5 times zoom. So you can see the words on the bottle. Look absolutely fantastic. Looks great. 5 times, working beautifully. If I go to 20... Oh, did you kind of see it there? It just switched over, and now back to 10. Oh my god, I almost dropped my phone. Okay, so this is so hard to actually like pinpoint. I literally have to go frame by frame because of how fast it was switching that I wasn't actually able to see it. Where are we? So that's the 5x, and everything perfect, right? Then we go to the 10x, which right here, this is optical. It's working. See, the label, everything is working perfect. Those numbers, crystal clear, everything there is perfect. I think I zoom into 20 and that's where it actually goes. This is all digital, because right here, I'm not shaking at all. This is a perfectly clear frame, and look at the letters, like the artifacts all the way around them and everything. I'll try and get like a frame back and forth where I'm not shaking. Digital, optical, digital, optical, digital, optical. Oh yeah, also watch on the side of this label, right there. Digital, optical. So when it's optical, everything is there, and the reflection and everything that's in it is totally fine. As soon as it switches to digital, right here and here, the AI is deleting stuff from the picture. So this is all digital now. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to get at. The optical zoom is not working every single time. It's actually doing digital and then optical together, and then it starts using AI to try and stitch it all together, which you could see on this label right here. It's actually like deleting stuff from the frame, like right there. And well, that's the AI for you. So it's just not very good. I don't know. It's switching between frames and it's just super off-putting. Like the camera's clearly broken. Like it doesn't work. It works. I can obviously record stuff with it. It's just, it's not actually optically zooming. It's doing a digital crop basically always, and then it just slightly switches over to optical every now and again just to kind of get like a sense of where it's going. But this basically means that it's relying
on AI the entire time. So once that subscription thing like sets in or whatever in 2025, then this camera is actually going to get worse in 2 years because they're relying so heavily on AI that once the AI becomes a subscription model, you're not going to have that anymore, and it's probably just not going to go between the AI and the optical. Or maybe it does. I really have no idea. But right now it's completely broken. This needs a software update because this is awful. And that's why it doesn't work. That's why the zoom looks terrible compared to the old phone. Because the S23 and previous models, they didn't use this AI, whatever. It only used the optical zoom and it worked absolutely flawlessly, which is why the 5X looks beautiful on this phone because it's 50 megapixel, it's super crisp, super clear, but as soon as you start zooming, it's a digital crop on that, which I've demonstrated with the Panasonic footage, that a digital crop, which right here, the digital crop, it's like blurry, crystal clear. So even though that these are the same size, this is optically zoomed on it and therefore clearer. This is from further away and there was less pixels to be digitally cropping on because it's like the full frame or whatever. This has all of the pixels compressed into one native area. So like digital, optical, much clearer. It's just a huge thing to have the optical zoom, and it's just not working. So right now the S24 Ultra, the optical zoom does not work. Like I've literally just shown it. It's not working. I have this super overexposed right now so we can see right into the lens. And I'm going to try to I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so I can't see what focal ranges I'm at, but right now my finger is set on 0.6, and if I slide over, did you hear that? Right there. So let's try and look right in here. You can see the regular lens is moving, which makes no sense, because as soon as it moves right there, I am at 20 times. The regular lens, like the wide angle, you can see that one is moving at 20 times. So like the Periscope, it literally isn't working. It's using AI to combine the 200 megapixel with the 5X and then it's simulating a zoom. I mean, like obviously that's not how it's supposed to work. So there's something wrong in software, which is what I was hoping, because that means that a future software update is going to fix this. But right now, that's why anything past 5X looks really bad, because it's a digital crop and they're using AI to combine the 200 megapixel with the 5x 50 megapixel. So that's why it's not working. I kind of fixed it. Okay? I know you might be thinking, like, what's going on? I put some tape on the camera. So this, like the super wide angle doesn't do anything. The wide angle doesn't do anything. Telephoto doesn't do anything. But super telephoto, it's actually using that lens because it can't use the AI on the 200 megapixel. Look at how good this looks. This is 100% optical, no AI. Oh my god. This is a phone, man. What? This is like the experience I was expecting out of the box. This is unbelievable. Jesus. Like, look at the bokeh on my old haggard window latch. And then out the window. And like you can even see like the moisture marks in the glass, like between the panes. And then, oh my god, I could stare at this all day. This is unbelievable. Also, I just want to show here in the settings. Oh my god, there's a cat. Huh. Look at that kitty. Look at that kitty cat. Okay, bye, kitty cat. Okay, well, that was excellent timing. Wouldn't have been able to do that if I had that stupid AI thing enabled. But what I was showing you is in here in the settings, advanced video options, we have nothing. And if we go to these advanced picture options, oh wait, no, sorry, hold on. That's for photos right here. Intelligent optimization, that's the one. We have minimum, medium, and maximum. And I already have it as low as it can go, but
it literally says at the bottom, like, well, you can't see where I'm tapping, but literally right below minimum, the quality optimization settings above only affect photo mode. You cannot turn off the AI for video. There is no setting to turn that off. There was a lot of people who are mentioning that in the first impressions video, but that's only for photos. You cannot do it for video. There's just no settings for video. This is blowing my mind how good this stupid phone looks. Oh my god, Samsung needs to fix this. Like, if they just turn off all the AI stuff, this is just unbelievable. Oh my god, this is literally like one of the best cameras I have ever used in my life. And this is a stupid phone. Samsung needs to get their head out of their ass, their AI stuff. Like, it's not working. Like, their actual camera is where it's at. Oh my god. And we just kind of have to like look around and stuff, and it'll just switch. Well, maybe I have to like pretend that something's closer. Nope. Oh, yep, there it goes, right there. Oh, and it's back. So it literally is trying to use the other lenses. Like, that's an actual thing. Look, it just did it again. Wow, why is it so washed out right now? It's like it's trying to blend two of them together. Look at how blurry it is. It's trying to blend the optical with something else right now. Oh, and it's gone again. Oh, okay. Well, oh, okay. Okay, we're done with this. Anyway, what I'm showing is there's clearly proof that it is using the other lenses over top of the telephoto, the super telephoto. So it's not actually using the lens that it says that it is because of the AI garbage, and it's just ridiculous that you can't turn this off. Another thing that I noticed is that, let's go all the way out here, and we can turn on the like the stability right here on the left.
So I have no idea what happened here, but like I'm just gonna cut this part out so you'll see it here.
Did you notice how all of our other lenses are?
What happened to the audio? What I was saying is, did you notice how all of the other lenses are gone? Because as soon as you put stabilization on, you only have the super wide angle and the wide angle. For some reason, the 3x and 5x are gone. This is the part that's really weird and what I was trying to explain in the video. But for like proof of example's sake, it's just a lot easier to show you a different video.
The 12 megapixel wide angle camera does not have OIS. The 200 megapixel main camera most definitely does. The 50 megapixel 5x telephoto has internal stabilization. And the 3x zoom camera also appears to have optical image stabilization.
Did you see that? So let's go back over here. So that means that this one right here does not have optical stabilization. But when you turn stabilization on, you somehow have stabilization with a non-optical stabilized lens. So this one has digital stabilization. This one here is your main shooter. That has optical stabilization, and it's enabled with optical stabilization. The 3x, which you have just seen in the Jerry Rig Everything video, has optical stabilization, and the 5x Periscope has internal stabilization. Why are those gone as soon as you turn stabilization on? And this is at 1080p, so it's a lower setting, so it should have more processing power. But let's see, did I show in there? So let's see, full HD. Oh yeah, and then 4K. Switching here to 4K, same thing applies. You still don't have the lenses. So you only have the option of 1080p or 4K when you have stabilization on, and you only have the option of a non-optically stabilized lens and a optically stabilized lens. But the other two are missing. That's what I was trying to get at in this part, so I'm just going to cut this in and delete the rest because this is a much quicker explanation. Is that basically the camera app is like, it's like beta, because there's features missing. There's tons of stuff that doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense. And they broke the camera. They broke the camera. That's what I'm getting at right now. This new update into the S24 Ultra, they have broken the camera trying to implement all of this AI stuff, where now the actual like physical things, they no longer work because of all the AI stuff that they tried to pack in here and didn't actually finish before releasing the firmware. So hopefully the next update, all of this is fixed.
You know, this is going to be like a very cinematic camera on a phone. Like, look at the bokeh coming off of this. This is not portrait mode. This is the actual phone. Like, if you look at where it says small rig and then behind it, we can kind of focus in on the isopropyl bottle and everything. Like that's the actual bokeh. That's not like portrait video mode or whatever, portrait video. Like that's the fake one. And like that looks awful. Like the actual lens is better than the fake stuff. There was one more thing I wanted to show here in the pro mode. If we go to pro video, we have all of the lenses. Again, this is ultra wide, wide, telephoto, super telephoto. In here, we have 1080p, and we can do like whatever frame rate we want. And then up here in the top left, right here, we can go through and we can take the highlights down. I can take the shadows down, saturation down. But if we go to 4K, that entire mode, it's not available. And now look at the contrast on everything. You can barely, like it's super blown out in some spots and the shadows are super crushed as well. So you lose like everything. And then 8K, obviously it's the exact same sort of situation. But like, I just don't get it. It's like, pro mode, but it's like it wasn't designed by someone who's actually a photographer, because all the settings that you want, like having a super flat profile, that's what you want in 4K, which would be great. I really thought I was going to be able to do something with this, and honestly, that edit, it's just not good. Like everything, like I'm gonna delete most of the outro of this video, because now it doesn't make sense now that I actually saw the footage. I was basically just going to say that like this phone is a great starting point and everything for getting into making videos and like YouTube and vlogging and whatever kind of social media you wanted, but I don't feel confident saying that anymore. Like this app is just, it's just bad. There's no other way to say it. This app is just bad. Like they've removed so much from the previous versions that this is now like a toy. More light needed for super steady. How much more light do you need? Jesus. Like they like ruined it. Like I'm genuinely disappointed about this.
Now, for editing apps on the phone itself, I've covered a few different things or whatever in like the photography series that I made. That's a playlist that I put together called the 28-Day Challenge, so you can check that out. It's the overlays video. That's the one where I show the phone because I'm using apps for overlays on to demonstrate how you can improve photos with them. So in there, I mentioned some apps that I use. Now for video, I mentioned this was edited on DaVinci Resolve Studio, but that's because I know how it works. But when you buy this phone, at least for the pre-order, which now is over, if you pre-order this phone, you get a $50 voucher for the Galaxy Store, and you can use that to buy LumaFusion, which is an absolutely fantastic editor, and then you can use this phone with Samsung DeX. So you plug it into a DisplayPort dock, you hook it up to your monitor, your keyboard and mouse and everything, and then you can use this as a desktop computer with a full video editor to actually edit all of your videos on. You can even use lookup tables and do color grading and everything. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So if you're just getting into making videos, I can't recommend this phone more, mostly because of how light it is, how sturdy it is. This feels like more like it's going to be equipment that I can bring with me. Whereas the other one, it felt more of like a luxury. Like, I feel like this one could probably take a few hits or something like that. Like if I went out and I had to film something with like some off-road trucks and this is going to get covered in mud, I feel okay with that. I can just wash the phone off under the sink. Like it's waterproof. And then if needed, just plug it into a keyboard, monitor, mouse, and I have a full desktop video editing workstation where I can do everything on the phone, then upload it to wherever I want on the phone. So this thing ends up kind of being its own like creative workstation that's also your camera and where you upload everything. It's literally the all-in-one like media creation device. And then if you're into like not using like royalty-free music or whatever, then you could also create your own music using something like the FL Studio mobile app. So you could create music on here and everything to use in your videos. Like it's literally the all-in-one device. And it's crazy because I feel like I should start moving toward this, as this is clearly the future of things, but I still just can't give up computers yet. I'm not quite there. I wanted to do this video edited with LumaFusion, but I can't do it yet. I'm not there. It's just not the time for me, but hopefully you got something out of this video. Like it. If you liked it, subscribe. If you want, that's cool. Month of Samsung, it's almost over. You know, I got one video left before that goes away. Or don't. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do.
Just slightly ahead of our time.
Panasonic.